I'm going to do Leetcode number 1 to sum. I'm going to use the Java language. First, I'm going to explain, and then I'll go over the solution. So we're given here an array of integers, for example, nums, and you're given a target, for example, number 9. So we want to find two elements that are not the same, like distinct positions in the array, such that their sum is the target. For example, in this case, we got the first element being 2, the second being 7. So that's at index 0 and index 1 of the array, right? And then that means that 2, if you add them up plus 7, you get the target, which is 9. Therefore, we're going to return an array, okay, of integers. The first being the index of the first number. In this case, going to be 0, right? And then the second, the other number, which is, in this case, just happen to be 0, comma 1, although they don't have to be in this exact order. All right, so the way I think about this is you're going to consider, okay, what if I think a different way? If I have the 9 there, I can, by math, write equations. This is actually equal to 2 equals 9 minus 7. So what I could do is, okay, as I go through the array, what if I take the target, subtract for the number that I'm currently seeing in the array, and I check if that number hasn't already been seen, okay? So that's the approach here. And to be able to record what we have seen so far, we're going to use a hash map. In JavaScript, it's like an object. In Python, a dictionary. Different names for the same thing. All right, so the approach is, as I'm looking, I'm going to look at the hash map. Okay, I'm going to keep track of the things. For example, let's go here. So I'm going to look at the first one. That's 2. Have I seen that before? No. Therefore, I'm going to keep that in a hash map. And the value is going to be its index in the array. So position of the 2 is 0. Okay, the next one is going to be 7. But then as you're doing this, what you got to do is, okay, I'm going to take the target, for example, 9, subtract from the current numbers, 7. That gives me what? 2. So I'm going to look into my map here. Okay, do I have a 2? Yes, I've seen it before. Therefore, oh, I have a match, right? Because if you take the 2 and add with the current one, it's the 7, then we're going to get the indices. So we just return the I index here as the second element and take this one as the first one. So that's the approach here. So let's jump into the code. So we're going to make an array here. Let's call it indices. And I'm just going to initialize. I'm using Java, so I can just do new int with the initializer curly brace. I'm just going to put -1 to mean I haven't found it yet, some initial value there. So remember, the first one is the index of the first number, and the second one index of the next number. And then at the end, I would just return the indices. This will only happen if it doesn't find it, but it should be able to find it. Anyway, we're going to go through the array with a loop. So I initialize an index variable, I'll call it I, to 0. And as long as I is less than nums.length, I'm using Java, so it's a primitive array of int. I don't need any parentheses for the length, so just a lowercase length like that. And then increment, so you don't have an infinite loop. So basically, it's going to check this condition. If it's true, execute the body of the loop, then go to increment, check the condition again. So long this is true, keep executing the body of the loop. For those who've never seen the loop before. Anyway, so with that, remember, I have to keep track of something I've seen before. So I have to make a hash map. So in Java, you can make like a hash map like this. The type is hash map. I'm just going to call it hash map with the first letter lowercase. And you got to tell it, okay, with the templates, with the angle brackets, hash map of what mapping to what, right? The key and the value types. So the key type here is going to be an integer, which is going to be the number I have seen, right? 2, 7, 11, 15, and so on. And then the value will be the index, its position in the array. So it's another integer. Okay, so equals new hash map with the same thing repeated, integer comma integer within the angle brackets, and then you can put the parentheses there. Okay, so that creates an object hash map, so I can use that. So let's go here. So to access the current element in the duration, that's nums brackets I, right? We have a primitive array in Java. Now, if I take the target, right, and I subtract, remember the math we did in the explanation? If I take that and subtract, I have to check if that is in the hash map because I want to know if I have seen that before. So you want to take the hash map and see if it contains that key. Does it contain a key? So the function here, the method is .contains key, and you pass that as the argument. Okay, so that gives you true or false, a Boolean value. So you can use that for the if. So if that is the case, that is true, we have seen the value, therefore we found a match, right? We found something. So in that case, the first number is going to be the one that I've seen before. So the indices of the element, the first element, position 0, is going to be the one I've seen before, which is basically target minus nums at I here. Okay, so I have to do hash map dot get target minus nums at I. Because this is the difference. When I say get, I get the value associated with that key, which is the index. If you don't like repeating the same thing, of course, you can always create difference variable here. If that's more helpful to you to understand, you can take that and extract it out, and you can put it here if that is easier for you to understand. Okay, and then the other index is basically the current one, which is given by I. And then I'm already done because I found it. So you can either return indices as it is, or you can just break out of the loop like this, and it will terminate the loop and return indices either way. So it's up to you. If you want to repeat indices, you just let it break and go to the next line 15 and do the same. Okay, now what if I haven't seen it before, right? It's the first time come across the integer. What do? Well, I have to record that I've seen it. So else case, we're gonna take the hash map and gonna put, that's the name of the method in Java, to add so we have two arguments, right? The key and the value. So the key is the number I've seen, which is num at the position I. And then the value is going to be its index because I keep track of the index associated with them. Because the question asks us to return the indices, not the number themselves. And that's it for that. And then let's write out the miss any semicolons here. All good. There you go. So 2, 7, 11, 15. So you can see target 9. That means the position 0 and 1, which corresponds to 2 and 7. They add to 9. The second one is basically, let's say, yeah, that's right. Now, what's the other case? 3, 2, 4, target 6. So basically, it's going to be the 2 and the 4, right? So that's positions 1 and 2. So we got 1 and 2. All right. And that's it. Let's see the complexity of time. For time, it's going to be, I'm doing a loop over n elements. So we got all of n, time complexity. Now for the space complexity, I'm using a hash map. So at most, the worst case is I have to keep track of every single number I've seen. Let's say there's n numbers, so it's all of n for the space complexity. Hey, thank you for watching. If you like this content, please consider making a donation so I can keep doing this for you. I'd really appreciate that if you could donate. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.